So today we're going to be working in the story of Noah and his family. And this is Genesis 6 through chapter 11, verse 26. We are actually in the very last chapter. We've gone through all these chapters from the before the flood, through the flood, reclaiming the land, and the various things that happened after the flood, the Tower of Babel, and Canaan, son of Ham, was cursed. And then we went through the genealogy short verses here from in Genesis 11 from Noah to Abram. Now we're going to do a very difficult chapter called the Table of Nations. This will be in Genesis 10, 1 through 32. It is not an easy chapter. It's basically for us Bible geeks, but I will try to make it as fascinating as I can. And but it is complicated. So let me get to it, and then we'll go through it. Okay, the Table of Nations, Genesis 10, 1 through 32. Okay, and notice here, even on our picture here, we have Ham, Shem, and Japheth. And they talk about, so we'll have some genealogy here. But this, in fact, I believe I also give you this genealogy table of all the descendants of Noah, which is very important. And we'll be hopefully talking about all these. We have talked about Shem's genealogy through Abram, but here's some of the other people that also were born during that time. Men, of course, not women, although occasionally a woman is shown, but normally not. So now we come to the Table of Nations. That's what this chapter is called, the Table of Nations. To some, this is one of the most exciting chapter of the Bible. Why? Because it gives us insights in the end times, really, insights on a number of other things. It is a chapter, but to others, it's a chapter that can put them to sleep. Now, I'm hoping I can share with you my excitement and not bore you to tears. I'm hoping I can make this chapter as interesting to you as it is to me. I'm going to borrow a lot from Henry Morris's book, The Genesis Record, to fully explain the beauty of this chapter. Even the greatest critics of the Bible admit that the 10th chapter of Genesis is a remarkably accurate historical document. There is no other comparable catalog of ancient nations available from any other source. It's unparalleled in its antiquity and comprehensiveness. Plus, research has proven it is astonishingly accurate document, and that's from the Genesis Record from Henry Morris's book, page 245. It is believed that Shem is a logical one to have kept the track of family record. First, he lived 502 years after the flood, so he was alive through these generations, and he lists both his brothers' families first before his own. His own family line is also more detailed than the other two. Realize that the Tower of Babel incident happened during this gathering of this Table of Nations, so Shem may not have understood the language of Japheth's family and Ham's family after a point, which is also written in Genesis Record, page 246. That makes a lot of sense. You know, first of all, he's the one that lives through it all. He stays in location, whereas the other ones move away. They come back occasionally, and the Tower of Babel happens during this time, and he loses perhaps knowledge or understanding of his brother's lines because of the confusion of languages. What makes this Table of Nations so special is that the family lines of each son can still be traced through the Bible, and many names are still part of the city or territory names today or in recent history. Many of the prophets, such as Ezekiel, Jeremiah, and Isaiah, use these names to prophesy about the future. They would not have known what the area's future name would be. But using the area identified by the Table of Nations, we can all understand where their prophecy will take place. Again, there's no other document quite like this chapter. So I'm hoping that you will find it illuminating and exciting as I do, and I'm hoping I can make it clear for you. With all that, now let's begin this amazing chapter. So, Genesis 10:1. This is the account of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, Noah's sons, who themselves had sons after the flood. The Jephthonites, the sons of Jephthah, Gomer, Magog, Maddah, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Teras. So first, who are the sons of Jephthah? And we just had them there. Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Teras. Now, as those of us who are into the end times understanding of it, we already recognize Gomer and Magog, and we can recognize some of these others, Tubal perhaps. And so that's kind of interesting already. It's like, what? So let's see if they actually do connect to the names of Revelations. So let's talk about each one in detail. However, I'm going to talk about them not in the same order. Gomer is shown in two places on the map, which I believe the map will be coming up soon. Yeah, shown two places on the map. Oh, that is, okay, circle number 2, circle the names on the next page. So we have Gomer. I have the stars here. Yeah, so stars will work. I don't have to mark them. We have Gomer, we have Tubal, we have Meshech, we have Teres, we have Javan, and Gomer up here, and Magog up here. So you already can see, if you know your European countries very well, that many of these are in this Turkey, Greece, some are Russia, which again, and descendants of Magog, again connects to Revelations. But anyway, let's go back now. Look, we'll go back and forth to this map as it comes. Gomer is shown on two places on the map. So let's look at Gomer. We see the one star of Gomer. Where's the other star of Gomer? Two places on the map. Oh, okay. High up and right in the middle and above it. Okay, cool. Both the present area of Turkey and the present area of Ukraine is where Gomer is. Tubal is also located in present-day Turkey. So let's look where Tubal is. Tubal is right there near the Black Sea. Okay, you see it? Okay. Magog and the descendants of Magog are both in the present area of Kazakhstan and a former Russian republic. Let's look at that again. Magog, and we have Magog in the upper right-hand corner of the map, and then we have Magog in the descendants of Magog way over here in the far up and upper right side of the map. Meshech is modern-day Russia. Meshech, where is Meshech? Right there, modern-day Russia. The former name of Russia, Muscovy, and the capital name of Moscow, both are derivatives of Meshech. So the names are not as distant as we would think, because they happened way back in early biblical times. Some of the names that exist now still have derivatives to that. So why are these places important? Consider that they all are part of the future Gog and Magog war pulled in Ezekiel, which will try to attack Israel. Again, remember, Ezekiel would have used the names in the Table of Nations because the names of these countries will change. And so he's using the names that have already been established for this area. Ezekiel 38, 2-6. Son of man, set your face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Prophesy against him and say, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I am against you, Gog, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn you around, put hooks in your jaws, and bring you out with your whole army, your horses, your horsemen fully armed, and a great horde with a large and small shields, all of them brandishing their swords. Persia, Cush, and Put will be with them, all with shields and helmets. Also Gomer with all its troops, and Beth Targamah from the far north with all its troops, the many nations with you. So we see already the names of the Table of Nations in Genesis exist in Revelations. So that makes this all the more exciting to see what actually is going. And again, we talked about the fact that These names are in Turkey and in Russia, okay, and in Greece, okay? So let's continue then. Now, list the modern day countries of Gomer, Tubal, Magog, and Meshech. And we have already discussed that the modern day countries are Turkey, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Turkey, and Russia. Okay, so let's talk about the rest of the sons or areas. Okay, Madai, according to all authorities, are the ancestors of the Medes. They settle in what's now Persia or Iran. Javan is the founder of Greece. Lastly, Taras in modern day Romania, which has Roman roots. It is also believed the Etruscans of Italy came from Taras. Sorry if I try to mispronounce some of these names. So basically, these three name areas represents the Medes of Persia, Greece, and Rome. These area peoples play a huge part in the Bible. First, the Medes are the integral part of the book of Daniel, Ezra, Esther, and Nehemiah, as the Jews were a captive people in Persia for a time. Both the Romans and the Greeks are a strong part of history of the world. Remember, most of the Bible is written in Greek, and Rome controlled Israel during the time of the Messiah. Both Greece and Rome controlled the area of Israel at one time in history. So list the modern day countries of Madai, Javan, and Taras. That's Iran and Persia, Greece, and Romania, or Romans. All 7 of these countries have or will have a relationship with Israel. What countries controlled Israel or the Jews for a time? We know Iran, Persia did, and we know the Romans did. Even though Greece may have, we don't have it written in the Bible, by the way. What countries want to attack Israel in the future? The countries that want to attack Israel in the future are Turkey, Russia, Ukraine, and Kazakhstan, based on the prior scripture from Ezekiel. Okay, down here, prior scripture Ezekiel. So if you check back about Noah's prophecies in Japheth in Genesis 9:27, you'll see some interesting correlations. I can probably get those. Let me see if I can. 9:27. Probably. I just had not enough room here. Oops, we got a lot farther to go there. Yeah. 9:27. May God extend Japheth's territory. May Japheth live in the tents of Shem, and may Canaan be the slave of Japheth. So now if we look at this this material that we have just read, we know Persia controlled Shem for a while. We know that Rome, which is a Japheth territory, controlled Israel for a while, and probably Greece too, although we don't have any stories. That's Greece's control in history happens between the Old and New Testament, so we don't really have anything written on them. So that's kind of interesting there. So let's continue with the scriptures. Genesis 10:3. Yeah, we've only hit the first two verses of 10 already. The sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Ripha, and Togarmah, the sons of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, the Kettites, and the Ronanites. From these, the maritime peoples spread out into their territories by their clans with their nations, each with their own language. So we know that this happened after the Tower of Babel, each with their own language. So circle all these names on the map from the next page. So let me just bring that up. Okay, so we have now, I've starred them instead of circled them so that we can read it a little easier. So Tarshish is in Portugal, Spain area. Elishai is in the northern Africa. We have Kittim on one of the islands there. We still have some that are up in Turkey. We still have one way up here. And of course, we have another Ashkenaz as well here. So, all righty. So that's kind of what that's going on there. So let's continue. And so I guess we have lost the location of the Rhodanites. So we can't put their location on. Which ones are maritime peoples? So of course, Elishai would be a maritime people. Tarshish would be maritime. And we actually hear about Tarshish, the ships from Tarshish a lot. And Tarshish is also where Paul tries to get to. So it's just kind of interesting. Some of these names will come up again. Kittim would have been a maritime place. Riphah would have been a maritime place. So we have quite a lot. And even Ashkenaz up here would have been a maritime place. It's on the coast. Okay. How many of Jephthah's son trees are written about in the Bible of nations? So, okay, a hint is looking at the chart at the start of this chapter. So let's see if we can find the chart. Okay, Jephthah. So we see Gomer. We see basically Gomer's line. We see to his Jephthah's grandchildren, and Javon's line we see to his grandchildren. But that's as far as we get on Jephthah. We don't get any farther than Jephthah's grandchildren. And remember, Jephthah went north. He was in the northern areas. So that's what we find out there. Let me see if we can get back here. I believe. Okay. It is believed that the lack of family lines is due to the different languages, not that they died out. The modern day equivalent of these name areas are Ashkenaz is modern day Russia, Rifat is modern day Turkey, Togarmah is modern day Turkey. Okay. Elisha is southwest Italy and the islands there. Tarshish is located in Spain. Hittites are in the area of Cyprus, and Rhodanites have been lost in time. Let me see, Elisha. Throws me off, Elisha. I wonder why that's considered Italy, but I don't know. That's what they say. So other than Russia, Turkey, and Italy that we've seen before, we now have Spain and Cyprus. Many of these also show up in the Bible. Which one do you see in Ezekiel 38, 2 through 6? So we need to go back to Ezekiel. So who do we see here? We see Togarmah. Togarmah at the bottom here. That's basically who we see as Togarmah. We will learn about Cush and Put soon as to who they are. So let's see. We go to here. So Togarmah. This group also is part of the Gog and Magog war to come. So we know that they are also part of the Gog and Magog war. Okay. Now, continuing with this concept, Tarshish is written up several times in the Bible, and they are known for what? So let's look at Isaiah 69. Isaiah 6:9. Surely the islands look to me. In the lead are the ships of Tarshish, bringing your children from afar with their silver and gold, to the honor of the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, for he has endowed you with splendor. They are known for their ships of Tarshish. We actually see that in other places too. Tarshish is also part of the Gog and Magog war, but as an innocent bystander. So let's read Ezekiel 38:13 below. Ezekiel 38:13. Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish and all her villages will say to you, that's the group who attacks Israel. Have you come to plunder? Have you gathered your hoards to loot, to carry off silver and gold, to take away livestock and goods, and to seize much plunder? And so Tarshish is an innocent bystander, so to speak, of Gog and Magog war, although they know what the reasons for, they know that the person's going to attack Israel. And Elisha, another coastland town, is known for what? So Ezekiel 27:7. Fine embroidered linen from Egypt was your sail and served as your banner. Your awnings were of blue and purple from the coasts of Elisha. So we know that they're known for their linens of blue and purple. Ashkenaz is located in present-day Russia. In Jeremiah below, it's called by God to join its neighbors to battle against where for the sake of the Israelites. Jeremiah 51:27. Lift up the banner in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations for battle against her, Babylon, summon against her these kingdoms, Arat, Mini, and Ashkenaz. Basically, the Japhanites spread north all over Europe with a major branch heading eastward to Persia and India. So the Japhanites went north, and they're of the race of the whiter people, actually. So now Genesis 10:6. The sons of Ham, Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. The sons of Cush, Seba, Havilah, Septa, Ramah, and Sabteka. Notice the name Canaan. We've already heard about him. He was the youngest son of Ham. Now we come to the family tree of Ham. Questions and map work. 1. Circle Ham's sons only on the map on the next page. Side note, the son named Egypt is sometimes called Mizram, and some of the names are spelled just a little different. So let's look at the map on the next page. I have these marked with a star. So we have Put, or P-U-T is also Put. And then we have Egypt. We have Canaan. So basically, these. Do we have 4 or? Okay. Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. So what happened to, oh, there's Cush right down on the bottom. There, Cush. Put, and Canaan, and Egypt. Okay. To put these places on modern day map, Cush, also known as Kish, is our modern day Ethiopia. And of course, if you read the New Testament, Philip converts a man from Ethiopia. Egypt, also known as Mizraim, is exactly where it is now, and it's kept its original name. Put, also known as Put, is modern day Libya, and Canaan is where Israel will be in the Promised Land. The area of Cush, which we now call Ethiopia, comes up several times in the Bible. Some of the most famous are listed below. What was the problem with Zipporah, Moses' wife, according to Miriam and Aaron? Numbers 12n. 1. Miriam and Aaron began to talk against Moses because of his Cushite wife, for he had married a Cushite. So the problem with Zipporah was that she was Cush, or from Ethiopia. Gives you a little newer insight on Moses and his wife. His wife might have been darker than Moses was. What is the current name of the area known as Cush? Current name of the area known as Cush is our modern day Ethiopia. The land of Persia during the time of Esther extended from India to Esther 1:1. This is what happened during the time of Xerxes, the Xerxes who ruled over 127 provinces, stretching from India to Kush. So the land of Persia extended to Kush at one time. Then one of the first Gentile converts to Christianity was, and I just talked about this, Acts 8:26-27. Now the angel of the Lord said to Philip, go south to the road, the desert road that goes down from Jerusalem to Gaza. So he started out, and on his way, he met an Ethiopian eunuch, an important official in charge of all treasury of the Kandake, which means Queen of Ethiopians. So Philip was able to convert this guy to Christianity. So Cush actually shows up several times in the Bible itself. So continuing, the area of Egypt, is well known for its place in history of the Hebrews, as the Hebrews stayed in the area of Goshen for over 400 years, some of that as slaves to the Egyptians. And if you want to know more about that, see Exodus chapters 1-12. What book of the Bible tells of the time when the Hebrews were slaves to Egypt? Exodus. Put, or Libya, also shows up several times in the Bible. In Chronicles below, what does Libya have plenty of? 2 Chronicles 12, 2 through 4. Because they, Israel, has been unfaithful to the Lord, Shishak, king of Egypt, attacked Jerusalem in the 5th year of King Rehoboam with 1,200 chariots and 6,000 horsemen, and the innumerable troops of the Libyans, Sukkites, and Cushites that came with him from Egypt. He captured the fortified cities of Judah and came as far as Jerusalem. So in Hood has plenty of what does Libya have plenty of? Okay, innumerable troops. The area of Canaan is where the land of Israel will be. It is the promised land is given to whom and his descendants. If you read Genesis 17:8 here, the whole land of Canaan, where you, Abraham, now reside as a foreigner, I will give as an everlasting possession to you and your descendants after you, and I will be their God. So the land of Canaan is where Israel will be. So now let's look at the grandsons of Ham through Cush: Seba, Havilah, Septah, Ramah, and Septeka. Cush also has another son named Nimrod, which we'll talk about later. So you should be able to find and circle on the next page Havilah, only near the Persian Gulf. Ramah and Nimrod, Havilah and Ramah, are both in Saudi Arabia. Nimrod settled in the Tigris-Euphrates Valley. Ramah has 2 sons, Sheba and Dedan, also near the Persian Gulf, and circled them as well. So now we have it all right here near the Persian Gulf. Okay. We have Nimrod settling near, this is the Euphrates River right here, near Babylon. He's actually, we'll talk about Nimrod. I won't tell you about that yet. Havilah and Dedan, those names come up occasionally because they're rich in certain resources that show up. Sheba and Ramah. So they're all along this area right here. So okay. Seba is modern day Sudan, which is below Libya. But Seba's names there. Septa and Septica are also in Saudi Arabia, so put their names there. Okay. Okay, Sudan. Where is Sudan? I put the names here for you. Septa and Septica. Right there. Okay, so then Genesis 10:7b, the sons of Ramah, Sheba, and Dedan. And I got Sheba and Dedan, so they're all right there. Okay, I noticed we have another Dedan, but apparently it's not part of this grouping. Okay, moving on. So Genesis 10:8. Now we're talking about Nimrod. Cush was the father of Nimrod, who became a mighty warrior on the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. That's what it said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. So now how is Nimrod described? He's described as a mighty hunter before the Lord. Despite his description, he's actually considered a rebel against God. His name actually means let us rebel, and is the one that creates Babel, of which chapter 7 of my book was all about, the Tower of Babel. He's the one that actually starts creating the Tower of Babel. Remember, it was in the town of Babylon, and so that's where he settled. Instead of moving away from the site of the ark, Nimrod stays nearby. Where did I say he built his city on in page 92? I built his city on Babylon, I believe, 92. I don't know if this book is the same as that. Let me see if I, let me get back here. Right, okay. On page 92 in my workbook, Nimrod built his nation in the Trans-Euphrates Valley, which we know is Babylon. Okay. In Micah below, what is another name for the land of Nimrod? In Micah 5:5-6, we will raise against them 7 shepherds, even 8 commanders who will rule the land of Assyria with the sword, the land of Nimrod with a drawn sword. So the land, another name for the land of Nimrod is Assyria. And we know from history, Assyria is the one that takes the top port of the divided kingdoms into captivity, Israel. Okay. Assyria is a longtime enemy of Israel. Eventually, God uses Assyria to capture whom? Due to their worshiping of idols instead of him. Looking at 2 Kings 17:23, it's just as I said. So the people of Israel, the divided kingdom, so of Israel, was taken from their homeland into the exile in Assyria. Does Assyria finally get their due? And let's look at Isaiah 31:8. Assyria will fall by no human sword. A sword not of mortals will devour them. They will flee before the sword, and their young will be put to forced labor. I don't know if we've seen that happen, but yeah, that's what is predicted. So number 6, with your knowledge of Babel, and now knowing that Nimrod was the leader who had the tower built, what more do you understand about Nimrod and why he was considered a rebel? I would say that he was considered a rebel because he built a tower as if to try to reach heaven where God was, instead of building out. And that's why he was rebelling against God. Okay. So Genesis 10:10. The first centers of his kingdom, that is Nimrod's kingdom, were Babylon, Uruk, Akkad, and Calneh in Shinar. So the land of Shinar, and of course that will show up, the land of Shinar will show up in the book of Abram as well. So this is Nimrod's kingdom. Find Babylon and underline it. Do you see Babylon? Okay. This is also where the Tower of Babel was built. On this map, Uruk is spelled Iraq, and underline that. So we have underlined it already, wherever it is. There it is, way close on the bottom there, above the word summer. Akkad, also known as Akkad, is an area. Underline that. So we underlined Akkad, I'm sure. Akkad, right under the word the land of Shinar. Calneh is harder to find. To many, if it is a city and not a phrase, meaning all of them, then it's probably Nippur, an underline Nippur, which is right next to the word kingdom, Nippur. The whole area is called the land of Shinar, and underline that. So that is Nimrod's kingdom, the land of Shinar. Okay. Okay, so let's continue. Genesis 10:11. From that land he went to Assyria, where he built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Calah, and Rezin, which is between Nineveh and Calah, which is the great city. Okay, so Assyria is an area. Underline that. You see an area of Assyria. Nineveh is a city. Underline that. And of course, we know Nineveh from the story of Jonah. Rehoboth had been lost in time unless it means streets of the town, referring to Nineveh. So we don't really know if Rehoboth is the town itself. Calah is also Nimrod on the map. Underline that. So Nimrod, Calah. Okay. And although Rezin is not on the map, we know where it is. Where is it? It's between Nineveh and Calah. So between Nineveh and Calah is Rezin. Okay, so continuing. Genesis 10:13. Egypt was the father of Ludites, Anamites, Lehabites, Naphtalites, Pathrosites, Cashluhites, from whom the Philistines come, and Caphtorites. Okay. We can find Ludites, Ludum, Lebahites, Lebaham, Pathrosites, Pathrusim, and Caphtorites, Caphtorum on the next page. Circle them. Okay. Let's look at the next page. So I've highlighted them. They're more in the Africa type area. Okay. The Anamites is below Ludum. Write that there. So below Ludum, Anam. You see Anam, I wrote it already. The Naphtulim, are also residents of Central Egypt. So write them there. So we have the Naphtulim. Lastly, the Cashulites have been lost in time, but are probably in that area as well. Interestingly, it says that the Philistines come from that family line. So basically these people, okay, I'll give you a little chance to take a look at that. These people are descendants and they are centered around Africa. So you would tend to say that they were Ham's descendants. Ham's descendants centered in Africa, other than the land of Canaan, which was taken away from them. And Japheth went north to Europe and all these things. And we will talk about Shem in a short bit, although, some were around the Persian Gulf as well. Ham's family. Okay. So basically, these people are in the central areas of Libya, Egypt, possibly Chad, Sudan, and the island of Crete. How did the Philistines, enemies of Israel, come from the Kashulu heights? According to the Genesis record by Harry Morris, the text says that the Philistines, well known in later biblical history, came out of Kashluhim, who are otherwise unknown. Another group, the Kaphtorim, are also identified in the Bible with the Philistines, and you'll see that in Amos 9:7 and Jeremiah 47:4. Secular writings generally place the origin of the Philistines on the island of Crete and identify Kaphtor as Crete. It seems possible that these two sons of Egypt, Kashluhim and Kaphtorim, kept their families together, later migrating to Crete and still later in successive waves to the eastern shore of the Mediterranean and the land later known as Philistia. Again, that's those people. Go continuing. Genesis 10:15. Canaan was the father of Sidon, his firstborn, out of the Hittites, Jebusites, Amorites, Girgashites, Hivites, Archites, Sinites, Arvadites, Zemarites, and Hamathites. And these will show up quite often during the time when the Israelites come in to conquer the land of Canaan. These names are come up quite often. Now we get to see Canaan, the youngest son of Ham. Sidonians are on the map, but where the city of Sidon will be during the time of Jesus, so underline them. So the city of Sidon, Sidonians. Sidon, Jesus comes to Sidon every once in a while. Hittites, Jebusites, Amorites, Hivites, Arvadites, and Hamath are all on the map, and underline them. The Girgashites are above Hivites near the Sea of Galilee. Place them there. Archites are just below Arvadites. Write them there. And the Zemarites and the Sinites are also near Sidonians, and write them there. So I have all these written in for you. Most of these people groups are in the land of Canaan, where the Israelites come to take the land that was promised to Abraham in the books of Joshua, basically. And so we see them quite a lot during that time, and a lot of talk about them. Okay, moving on. Genesis 10:17b. Later the Canaanite clans scattered, and the borders of Canaan reached from Sidon toward Gerar as far as Gaza, and then toward Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim as far as Lasha. These are the sons of Ham by their clans and languages and their territories and nations. Again, mixed up of languages. What is the northern city of Canaan? Sidon. What is the southern city of Canaan? It would be Zeboim, or let's see, do we have, or even Lasha would probably be the most southern city of Canaan. What is the easternmost city of Canaan? Easternmost city of Canaan. Gerar as far as Gaza? That's westernmost. Easternmost might have been part of the Sodom and Gomorrah and Zeboim. Right. Who did God promise the whole land of Canaan to? The Israelites. Why did God give land that was already occupied by another group? GotQuestions.com tells us, at the edge of the promised land, Moses told the children of Abraham, it is on account of wickedness of these nations that the Lord is going to drive them out before you, which is in Deuteronomy 9:4. Abraham did not inherit the land immediately because it was not yet time for judgment to fall. God eventually took the land from the idlers and turned it over to his children. So we continue. Genesis 10:21. Sons were also born to Shem. So we now get into the promised land, whose older brother was Japheth. Shem was the ancestor of all the sons of Eber, the sons of Shem, Elam, Ashur, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. And we've heard Arphaxad already in the Promised Land. Elam, Ashur, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram are all on the map on the next page. And so let's see where those are. So that's where they are all located. Okay. Who was Eber? We will soon learn that Eber is the great grandson of Shem. It is believed that the word Hebrew comes from the word Eber. Elam is modern-day Persia. Ashur is the founder of the Assyrians, but as noted in Genesis 10:11, Nimrod and his followers invaded and took over Assyria. Little is known about Arphaxad, except that he was a direct descendant to Abraham and therefore Jesus. Lud is on the tip of Turkey. Lastly, Aram is now Syria and also the originator of the Aramaic language of which the portions of the Bible was written in. So name the modern day countries presented by the sons of Shem: Persia, Turkey, Assyria, and Syria. Which son of Shem's is an ancestor of Jesus? It would be Arphaxad. Who is Shem's older brother? Japheth. Japheth is the oldest, Shem is the middle, and Ham is the youngest. Why would Assyria be a mixture of Semitic Shem and Hamitic Ham culture, language, and religion? Because Shem had it first, but some of Ham's family, through Nimrod, took it over. So there was a mixture of the two family lines. So again, I'm going to take a look at the map here, give you a little more time to take a look at that. So now, Genesis 10:23, the sons of Aram, Uz, Hul, Gether, and Meshach. Arphaxad was the father of Shelah, and Shelah the father of Eber. We can find Uz and Gether on the next map and circle them. So I've changed the map a little bit, quite a busy map, but we can see Gether or Uz. And what else were we supposed to see? Gether on the map. Okay, so both are linked together. Basically, Shem's family stayed in the area of Saudi Arabia. So basically, the area of Saudi Arabia is Shem. You notice here where they've designated Ham as Africa and Japheth as Europe and Asia, and Shem as Arabia. A famous person lived in the land of Uz. Who is he? I'm looking at Job 1:1. In the land of Uz, there lived a man whose name was Job. The man was blameless and upright. He feared God and shunned evil. He lived in the land of Uz, but there's actually another man who lived in the land of Uz, which was also Abram. The location of Hul and Meshach have disappeared over time. We have more about the line of promise in Genesis 11:12 through 15 below. These questions come from there. Genesis 11:12 through 15. When Arphaxad had lived 35 years, he became the father of Shelah. And after he became the father of Shelah, Arphaxad lived 403 years and had other sons and daughters. When Shelah had lived 30 years, he became the father of Eber. And after he became the father of Eber, Shelah lived 403 years and had other sons and daughters. So how old was Arphaxad when he had Shelah? He was 35 years of age. And how old was Arphaxad when he died? 438 years of age. How old was Shelah when he had Eber? 30 years of age. And how old was Shelah when he died? 433 years. Did both of these men have sons and daughters? Absolutely. When I say this is the promised line or the blessed line, what do I mean? This is the line that will lead to the Messiah. How they knew this at the time, I'm not really sure, but we see that somehow they knew that that was the blessed line. So again, I give you this rather busy map. You see a number of other words, names that we've just recently talked about. And so I'll give you a moment or two on that. We're almost done here. So Genesis 10:25. 2 sons were born to Eber. One was named Peleg because in his time the earth was divided. So this is the son that was born during the time of the Tower of Babel. His brother's name was Joktan. Joktan was the father of Almodad, Sheleph, Hazar, Maphith, Jerah, Adoram, Uzah, Diklah, Obah, Abibmal, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these sons were of Joktan. The region where they lived stretched from Mesha towards Sephar in the eastern hill country. These are the sons of Shem by their clans and languages in their territories and nations. Who were Eber's two sons? Eber's two sons were Peleg and Joktan. We know the story of the Tower of Babel happened before Peleg was born because it says here, because in this time the earth was divided. We only know some of the name locations on the map. Circle the ones you find and write them here. So we're going to go to the map. And you see them here at the very tip of Arabia. Ophir, Azarmapheth, and those four. Yeah, that's pretty much where they are in that very end there. The region where they live stretched from where to where? Stretched from Mesha to Sephar. These people areas are now known in the area of Yemen, Oman, and the United Arab Emirates. Okay. Again, showing that. So these are the clans of Noah's sons, according to their lines of descent within their nations, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. That's the end of that. And so that's the end of that chapter. I hope you learned something from it. I know it was very technical, and I hope you learned something of it. Thank you. Bye now.